All right, welcome to another episode of the Middle Aged Metalhead. As usual, I get a bit of momentum going and then I disappear. So it's been more than a month since my last update. As usual, work has been a little crazy. I've been traveling on work as well, which is hopefully going to turn into another video. But yeah, here I am back, and I thought I'd finish off with the favorite albums from each decade that I was doing. And when I sat down and started thinking of my favorite albums from the 2000s and the 2010s, I kind of realized that I don't really have a lot, right? I mean, sure, there's lots of stuff that I listen to from those two decades, but most of my listening still happens from the 90s, 80s, 70s, and then I guess the 2000s and the 2010s. So I figured I'd just combine those two decades and pick 10 of my most listened to albums from that period of 20 years. So these are my favorites from 2000 to 2019, or 10 albums that I listen to the most from that particular time period. So without going on and on too much. First up, from 2003, this is Cel- Septic Flesh, not Celtic Flesh or Celtic Flesh, but Septic Flesh with Sumerian Demons. Absolutely fantastic album. And I know I say that a lot, but I think this is where the band really started to find their sound. The whole symphonic death metal, if you will. I think it started here really, because Revolution DNA. I remember the album that came out before this. A lot of the fans were unhappy with the whole gothic, uh, electronic. I wouldn't call it industrial. I don't think there was anything industrial on that album, but yeah, fans weren't too happy. But Sumerian Demons, goddamn, what an album! There are moments of absolute savagery. There's melody here. There's female vocals. There's orchestration, and just killer songs. So yeah, first up, this is an album I listen to a whole lot. Probably my favorite by the band, and yeah, like I said, pretty much this is where they solidified their approach and sound for me. Septic Flesh, Sumerian Demons. Next up, Clutch, Blast Tyrant, another fantastic band. Started off as a sort of, I don't know, post-hardcore, whatever you may call it, but then this is just like one of their albums previously was titled Pure Rock Fury, right? And Clutch have been in an absolute role for a long while now. And this, I think, is one of their high watermarks. Absolutely superb album. I think this came out in 2005, if I'm not mistaken. Probably, yeah. And just fantastic songs. Prophets of Doom, The Mob Goes Wild, The Regulator. What a song that is. And I would say one of the finest vocal performances from the albums that I'm going to be talking about today. And here's the gatefold. Hopefully you can see it. But yeah, just a terrific blues based hard rock stoner. I don't think there's any sludge on this, but yeah, just a top class album. Clutch, Blast Tyrant. Next, I've got three albums from 2007. First up, Trouble, Simple Mind Condition, their last album with Eric Wagner. He was in absolute top form on this album, and the whole band was really just pretty much carried on from, I would say, what was the last one that they did before this? Plastic Greenhead and Manic Frustration. I think it carried on from the spirit of those two albums. So you had the album opener Going Home, you had After the Rain, which was a fantastic ballad, Troublemaker, which was sort of a Deep Purple Led Zeppelin vibe to it. Simple Mind Condition, the title song, Ride the Sky, If I Only Had a Reason, which was another sort of ballady song, but yeah, just a fantastic album. There's nothing here that I would call doom, but overall, the band was really digging into their 70s influences, maybe even their 60s influences, and they put out an absolutely stunning album. Trouble, Simple Mind Condition from 2007. Next up, I've spoken about this album a lot. Also from 2007, Type O Negative, Dead Again. The final album from the band, final piece of work from the late great Peter Steele, and what a send off this was. I mean, seriously, Tripping a Blind Man, The Prophet of Doom, September Sun, just absolutely brilliant, brilliant album. And I think overall this might actually be my favorite typo as well. Yeah, because I like Bloody Kisses a lot. Not a huge fan of the first two, Origin of Feces and or whatever the other one was called. I like October Rust, World Coming Down, but this one is really just holds a special place for me. Super, super album. Then the third album from 2007, Death Evocation, The Chalice of Ages. Now, this one, American band, I think this is the only full length that they did. Metal Archives shows that they're still active, but yeah, I mean, it's been 15, 16 years of silence, at least in terms of any kind of recorded output. But this is one hell of a death metal album. Absolutely classy stuff. And for an American band, they sound very Finnish, especially their sense of melody. So, yeah, this is, if you've never heard Death Evocation, listen to this album. The Chalice of Ages is an absolute essential piece of death metal from the last 20 odd years. Must listen stuff. Moving on to the 2010s. Now we've got Weapon from the Devil's Tomb. Now, Weapon started life in Bangladesh, and I think the main man, Vetus Monarch, migrated to Canada a few years after that. A couple of their early 7 inches, I think, came out when the band was still in Bangladesh. But after that, basically put out three full lengths before calling it a day. The first one, Draconian Paradigm, was really, really good. The second one, From the Devil's Tomb, absolute classic. It's, I would say, in terms of songwriting, it's up there with bands like The Chasm or, yeah, just a unique beast, superb songwriting, great sense of melody, and immediately after, and a vague influence of slightly Eastern melodies as well. Uh, and immediately after this, they moved to Relapse and put out one final album called, I think it was called From Embers to Revelation, and called it a day after that. As far as I know, Vetus Monarch is no longer interested in the metal scene or playing metal anyway. But yeah, this second album, easily their best for me, and one of my favorites from the 2010s. Super, super stuff. That's Weapon from the Devil's Tomb. Next up from 2014, I believe this is 2014, Primordial, Where Greater Men Have Fallen. Now, with Primordial, I think To the Nameless Dead might be the objectively better album, but some of the songs on this album have a emotional weight to them that really, really gets me. Like I still remember 2016 watching Primordial live at Hellfest and the band opening with the title song Where Greater Men Have Fallen. and it was just goosebumps, man. I mean, it was one of the most powerful concert experiences I have ever had. And this is an album that I just keep coming back to. If you've never heard Primordial, I mean, fuck, what are you waiting for? Just listen to them, right? And yeah, epic, epic metal. That is all I can say about this. Superb band, superb album. Primordial, where greater men have fallen. And this is, I think, 2014. Next up, I don't know if this is a bit of a cheat. This was originally recorded in 95 or maybe it was 99, but it was only released on audio format in 2015. So this is Mad Season, Live at the Mall, one of those Seattle supergroups that put out a fantastic album in Above back in, what was it, 94, 95. You had Lane Staley from Alice in Chains, you had Mike McCready on guitar, I think you had Ben Shepherd from Soundgarden on drums, you had Mark Lanigan from the Screaming Trees pitching in for support, and that was on the album, but this live album is just beautiful. I mean, it's dark, it's melancholic, it's, you could call it depressing as well because some of these songs are really, really bleak. But Lane Staley absolutely nails it. The band is sounding fantastic. And if you have even a little bit of interest in that whole 90s Seattle sound, Mad Season is an essential band. And this album is a little difficult to get a hold of, but it is available streaming. So, yeah, if you've never heard this, check it out. Then moving on to pretty much the second half of the 2010s, I think 2016 or 17 maybe. From Norway, the final album by prog metal band Virus. And this one's called Memento Collider. Absolutely. I mean, I love this album. This was one of my favorite albums from the year it came out. Didn't really get a lot of press or a lot of hype around it. But yeah, complex, heavy as fuck songwriting. Sort of like a Vedbjørn Zen meets Voivod meets I don't know what else really, but just a unique band. That's Virus, Memento Collider. And finally, to round out the list from 2019, this is, as far as I know, the only album from this band. It's called Funeral Fuck from, they're either from Germany or they're from Italy. I always get confused. And the album is called Carnal Confessions, a concept album based on the abuses of the Catholic Church. It is powerful, traditional doom metal. I mean, this is up there with the, maybe not the classic stuff that Solitude Aeternus and Candlemas have done, but easily better than anything that those two bands have done after the 90s or after their absolute peak heydays. This is great, powerful, clean vocals, superb melodies, very, very heavy, and yeah, just if you've never heard Funeral Fuck, I know that's a stupid fucking name, but yeah, if you've never heard the band, check this out. This is something that's really worth listening to. Carnal Confessions is the name of the album. And that is pretty much that. 10 albums from 2000 to 2019. My 10 most played albums. I should be coming up with another video quite soon, hopefully, if laziness doesn't get in the way. But till then, have a good one. Stay safe, stay metal. If you like the video, subscribe to the channel. Drop a comment. Tell me what your favorite albums are from these last 20 years. And yeah, have a good one.